Today, my dear audience, we are doing something super creative, super unheard of, something no one's ever done before. This is an industry new thing, and it's called a tier list. Now, what is a tier list? In case you don't know, we are going to be, well, I am going to be taking all of the major consumer LLM or AI providers and ranking them in order of what I think is best, especially for people who A, want to maximize their productivity, B, want to make more money, or C, want to save more of their time. So let's start off in reverse order. For starters, let's go with Grok. Grok, as of October 2025, November 1st, when this video is being filmed, I'm gonna rank in A tier. Now, of course, there are some really interesting releases with Grok Imagine. I like that stuff. I like that they're making it multi-capability. That's cool. But at the end of the day, when we go back to what the three main purposes are, which is time maximization, revenue profit maximization, and efficiency maximization, there are still better picks overall. I've tried Super Grok. I like it for ideation. So if you're trying to come up with concepts and having your idea get tested against multiple Grok instances, which are working in parallel, debating and perfecting their opinion of your idea or improving the overall generation, then Grok is probably the best course for you. I'd say in terms of the breadth of offering that Elon Musk has provided with Grok, you have Annie, you have those other friendly companions, AI companions. I think they are the ones that have made the future of AI seem the most futuristic, like the way it should be, as in AI companions, AI that has multiple modes, like their unhinged mode, their 18 plus mode, their therapist mode, like literally full stacking AI in one place. Grok is probably the best, even going beyond OpenAI on that end. But in terms of feasibility and API, there's just not a lot of instances where I, as a developer, I'm going to see myself using Grok API or using it to create some kind of product either. Like, I just don't go to Grok very often, but I would still prefer talking to Grok over base ChatGPT 5. So that's saying something. If you haven't tried Grok, seriously, put your time into it because it's improving over time. So I think over time, Grok will get to the S tier, but for now, I'm going to leave it in a close A tier. Moving on, we have OpenAI. Now, OpenAI, as of October 2025, I will say is also A tier. The reason I didn't give OpenAI S tier is because when it comes to coding ability and just the fact that the UI could use some improvements in terms of their coding system, which is called what? Codex, right? It's called Codex. Listen, the branding, the marketing is awesome. OpenAI, they've cemented themselves in the market as a winner. And eventually, when the company does go public, that's a stock you don't want to miss out on. This is not financial advice, but in terms of voice AI, OpenAI is the best. They have the best model to chat with. It's the most responsive. It's the one that I notice improves the most. Agent mode was kind of like I'm probably not gonna use this, and I never did really. Like even for checking and booking tickets, like some things you just don't need to be that lazy for because the AI is not good enough yet where you'd replace your own human ability with an LLM to do it for you. So that's another reason I would give it rank A and not S tier. If you have the pro tier of ChatGPT, I'd say that's way better than having the plus tier. But for most people, ChatGPT Plus is gonna cut it. 20 per month is honestly fair. And for most of your day-to-day work needs, I think it's like the best general companion. But is it the best in terms of what it can do? I would say no in its current state. ChatGPT 5 is a good model. A lot of people complained the fact that 4.0 was better, more customized, but the only real difference is that 4.0 just made the responses sound more personalized. And the best indication of a well-working AI is an AI that doesn't agree with you. that remembers not to agree with you, especially if you tell it, and especially if it knows better, then it's a good working AI. And I feel like 4.0 didn't do that well, so GPT-5 is definitely a major upgrade, so I don't know what people are tripping about. But regardless, um, another quick trick you should know when you're using OpenAI models is to tell it to think very hard in every prompt where you need it to produce a more quality output generation, because that way you don't have to select the think very hard mode, and instead just for that generation it will think very hard. And you got to remember that OpenAI is a non-profit for-profit company, which is unheard of. And in their case, they want to save on token consumption as much as possible, which means the base model of ChatGPT, if you don't tell it to think very hard, it's just gonna generate what it can with as little tokens as needed, so that they maximize the profit on the 20 per month subscriptions, which is the majority of their user base, disregarding the free users, because just not a lot of people subscribe to Pro. There's just not like so much incentive quite yet to use Pro. Even if the results are better, it's just not a noticeably better difference, especially for product creation. Although if you are doing product creation and I didn't, and you don't have development skill, or you don't want to develop some kind of SaaS, you want to do info, or you want to help increase your productivity at your own job, I would go with OpenAI Pro over Anthropic Max 20 plan, which is the one I use the best. Obviously, get the best things, like you deserve the best. And I tested out. Obviously, like you have to take nuance into account with these discussions, because LLMs are only as good as the prompter, as the person who sets the context. And if you're not good at prompting, if you just expect ChatGPT to be this all-knowing God, which it isn't, it's just a pattern matching algorithm, then if you know that it is just a pattern matching algorithm, you'll just get better at setting guardrails and stopping it from hallucinating or saying things that just don't fit what you need, which is people's biggest problem. They're like, oh, ChatGPT's stupid. It doesn't help me make money at all. It's like, no, you're stupid and you don't know how to use ChatGPT correctly. The issue is not the LLMs, it's the fact that people don't know how to use them or communicate with them in an orderly, structured, critical thinking set of manners. That's the biggest issue. So the biggest divide you're going to see between successful people and unsuccessful people in the upcoming 10 years from now and now is the people that know how to talk to AI and the people that don't. And I digress to another point I made in my previous video, where I said it's either AI taking your info or you creating info plus AI products. There's no in between, because at some point copyright is just going to become a thing of the past. Like, we will share trademarks with everyone and that law will just disappear in its entirety, because you can't enforce it on super intelligence. Like, good luck with that when we get there, of course. Okay, moving on, we have Google Gemini. I'm gonna put Gemini at S tier. Now, the reason for that is in regards to product offering and just how well spread it is throughout the Google and the Google Workspace ecosystem. I use it a lot. Even for image editing, this tool is amazing. It really rivals Photoshop. And I mean, okay, you can do better edits with Photoshop, but you can do quicker and relatively similar quality of edits with Gemini. And at the end of the day, we only have so much time in a day. And if you pay attention, the world does feel like it's accelerating. And for all you simulation freaks, you guys are probably like so excited right now for the fact of this, because time feels like it's speeding up. We feel like we have less of it. And more of these events around the world are just making you think like, you know what, maybe this is some kind of simulation. I don't subscribe to simulation theory 100%, just 110. Anyways, moving on. Gemini is great at coding. When the new Gemini 3 or 2.5 comes out, I'm really excited to try that out. It's good for coding. It's really good for research. Good for just combining product ideas and comparing it to current trends. Obviously, Google has the largest breadth of data to work with. So on that end, it makes complete sense why I would put it in S tier. For if you're running a business and you're working with clients and you have to do meetings, especially, and you're using Google Meet, they have the Gemini inside of they have Gemini inside of Google Meet, so thousands of Y Combinator or other VC backed startups just died the moment Google came out with this because everyone was like, yeah, I'm gonna create the AI meeting listening tool that will let you compile your meeting reports. That way you don't need somebody to take notes or you don't need to take notes. It's like, bro, really? I told you guys this so many times. Like, all of the major players, like AAA companies, like think about it, the EA of AI companies like Google, like OpenAI, like Grok, like Anthropic, like DeepSeek, all these companies, they will just release those features into their ecosystem, and the ecosystem king is Google. So as if they release the feature, then all those startups just die automatically because me as a Google product consumer, why would I use your tool that's kind of works when I can just use the Google Gemini tool? I don't know. I think it's horrendous the amount of money that's being spilled around VCs nowadays funding these completely useless on chain, on premise AI startups, which just will result in nothing. So, RIP to all of them the moment Gemini meeting recorder came out, because that's what I use, and I think that's what most of the professional world will use. So, yeah, Gemini is S tier. I can't think of any other reasons on the fly, just the you can't go wrong betting on Gemini in the long run because it's Google and because of the breadth of information they have. So, just also based on the fact that it's future proof, Google is going to stick around as one of the major competitors in the long term game. Now, we do have a D tier. Microsoft Copilot is probably the most useless thing ever. I can't even think of one application of this tool where it would be somewhat applicable. Oh man, I have nothing to say about Microsoft Copilot. I think that this is just a sad attempt at a sad creation. Yeah, nobody I know, none of my clients, none of the professional world ever utters the word of Microsoft Copilot. I think the king's crown still belongs to OpenAI for the time being, but there is another competitor that obviously performs better for SEOs, SEOs, for CEOs, founders, for business managers, for people that want to get into online money making with AI. You just have better options out there, and the number one option that outranks everybody is Anthropic with Claude. Sonnet 4.5 is amazing. Opus 4.1 is great. Consumption limits, I'm a bit not so happy with. If you have the max subscription, that means 20x usage, like literally the highest possible subscription you can have. You'll be using that above the highest subscription you can get from OpenAI, Pro, or Super Grok, just because Anthropic's management and ecosystem aesthetic, everything is just made for money making. Like this is the best way I can describe it. Once you get comfortable using Claude and knowing the fact that they're adding updates, like they might not be adding updates that are new to the market. OpenAI had memory for a while, but I feel like Claude memory is just better. And being able to set project instructions, Claude follows them better. You have scripts now, MD, which just lets you cater the context before going into the chat. That's incredible. You can literally have your own customized bots on chain with Claude. Um, yeah, I mean, I don't know what other benefits to think of, honestly. It's just so easy to use Claude. If you know how to talk to AI, if you consider yourself like at least a semi decent prompt or context engineer, and you have at least some understanding of basic marketing principles, basic business principles, like if you watched at least 3 Iman Gadzhi videos and you have Claude, you got everything you need. Seriously. It's amazing. And now they also had a major problem before, which would have made me put it in A tier, which was the fact that when you were using chats and you run out of context, you wouldn't really be able to recapture the context of that chat in your new chat. But now, if everything's sorted by project, and even if it's not, you can tell Claude, hey, my conversation ran out of context in that previous chat. Look over everything that we went through within that chat, cover all of the important details, move them over to here so you understand the context of what we're working on going forward. You can quite literally never run out of context this way because even if it misses out on something, you can correct it to go, hey, you missed this one thing. So before we move forward with the project development, go back and check, come back to me, and it will do that. Another thing is, I can't believe I skipped over this. Claude Code. Wow. I mean, seriously, wow. Even with Claude Code alone, you can do so much more than you can do with Cursor. And also, by the way, Cursor is not a real company. They're not a real product. They are just an extension of what AI will eventually overtake and devour. They're right now sitting in the eye of the storm and they think they're going to survive it and maximize their earnings. But in reality, Cursor in itself is worthless. It's Anthropic's Claude models that are powering its coding abilities. It's the Grok model's coding ability, OpenAI's coding ability. And they recently came out with Cursor 2.0, I think, and they have their own model, but it's not tested across any of the real major benchmarks. Like they made up their own benchmarks. At least that's what it looks like on the site in the community. And it legit just says like, yeah, it outperforms or is relatively as powerful as some of the top models, flagship models. It's like, well, where's the proof? Like, show us. It doesn't show up on the top benchmarks lists anywhere. So they're kind of just like, I don't know, false advertising. And I have no reason to move over from VS Code with Claude Code because I'm comfortable with VS Code. VS Code has been around for ages over to Cursor because like I don't want to transition. I've been a developer in VS Code even before AI became a major thing. And being able to just take an AI and integrate it in and decide how I want to use it is just so much more power and control over my coding experience. And Claude Code makes it possible for people who understand how to write code but are just lazy about writing code to create amazing things. And that's essentially what I've done. I mean, you guys should check out my GitHub. Like, there's a lot of stuff you can do with Claude Code alone. So Anthropic takes the undisputed number one spot for the end of 2025. I don't think anyone's gonna get close. We're gonna put DeepSeek in A tier as well, but behind OpenAI. The reason for that is because you just can't bet against Chinese open source models because it's like China will always do. It's like with car production, it's the exact same thing. When you look at Chinese cars, they are just better, faster, cheaper to produce than American made or European cars. It's just how it is. Like you might argue against it, you might call it propaganda, but it's not. Chinese EVs are just they just outperform. Software is better. The car's general abilities will improve faster over time. Like they 10x the speed of innovation when it comes to technologies like this, especially in regards to AI and in cars with physical products as we've seen. That the rest of the world is like, how do we keep up with this? Like yes, there's consequences to such a mass scale level of production, but when you look at DeepSeek, it's not a physical product at the end. It's not a physical product at the end of the day. It is just an AI model. But with the rate at which they fine tune and at the rate that they will continue to improve this product, I just think that DeepSeek and its API is also an undisputed king. I love using DeepSeek. It's great, honestly. The responses are just incredibly well sorted, especially for a free model that's also improving along a very positive trajectory. I'm very bullish on DeepSeek. Now, of course, aside from this list, this is obviously just consumer LLMs. There's also open source models like 001 from OpenAI and a bunch of others. This is a tier list based purely on the companies and with the trajectories that they're currently headed at. OpenAI just has some past shady stuff that I kind of can't get past looking at. And if I had to be bullish on which AI I want of these companies to reach super intelligence first, it would probably be Grok. Just because Grok on its own right now seems to even be able to play 4D chess against its creator, Elon Musk. So, a maximally truth seeking AI must be the goal. But Anthropic understands something very well about product creation is that a maximally user serving AI is the most financially enabling goal to have for your system. And then there's Copilot, and they're just like, I wish Apple Intelligence was here because I would put it into F tier. Oh my. Apple are way too late on the AI train. I still think there's time to get back to it, but it's going to take some like hood on lock in for the rest of winter kind of building for them to get anywhere near these competitors. So, yeah, that's what I think in terms of this tier list. Again, I didn't make it. You guys can obviously send your own tier lists below. I'd love to see them. But yeah, this is my general opinion on the mass consumer providers. If you guys want me to go into detail about the specific models and what I use them for in my day to day to help your workflows, to help you guys automate certain job functions, to help you build products and progress your career, I would be so happy to do that. Honestly, I I love filming these videos for the love I have of the future that these models are going to bring about. So, once again, keep working hard, get after it, and never stop having something on your plate. That's the most important thing, and you'll reach the stars. So, yeah, good luck. Thank you guys. Like and sub.